So, every founder has this dream, right? You launch your product and bam, a flood of signups. But what happens when that flood is, well, more like a trickle? Today, we're going to crack the code on one of the biggest hurdles in the startup world, getting those first 100 customers. And look, this isn't just about surviving. It's about turning an idea into a real, actual business. So, how do you get from 0 to 100? Let's get into it.
You did it. After months, maybe even years of pure grind, you finally hit that big launch button. You're sitting there refreshing the page, just waiting for the notifications to start pouring in, and you hear nothing. Just crickets. That quiet is a special kind of terror for a founder. It brings up the biggest question of all. Okay, now what? Where do these first customers actually come from?
Well, the answer is probably the last thing you'd expect. And it comes from this legendary piece of advice from Y Combinator's Paul Graham. He said, do things that don't scale. Forget about fancy ad campaigns or complex marketing funnels for a minute. The real secret to getting your first customers is to roll up your sleeves and do the messy, manual, one-to-one work that feels like there's no way it could build a giant company. But trust me, it's the only way to begin.
So let's talk about that post-launch silence. It feels like you failed, but you haven't. This is actually one of the most important moments for your company. It's the point where you stop just building a product by yourself and you start building a business with actual people.
And here is the first big mental shift you have to make. Your first 100 customers, they are not about making money. Just put revenue out of your mind for a second. They are all about one thing, validation. These first users aren't just numbers on a chart. They're your partners. Their feedback is what will shape your okay idea into an amazing product. They're the ones who prove you're actually solving a problem that people care enough about to use and eventually pay for.
Okay, so before you send a single email or post on Reddit, you got to stop and ask the most important question. Who is this for? If you just spray your message out to everyone and hope for the best, you're just going to burn out and get a bunch of useless feedback. You need a North Star, a laser-focused guide for every single thing you do next.
And that North Star, that's your ideal customer profile, or ICP. Now listen up, because this is a really important distinction. An ICP is not the same as a buyer persona. Your ICP describes the perfect company for your product. The buyer persona is the actual person you're trying to reach at that company. So for instance, if you sell cybersecurity software, your ICP might be something like US-based finance companies with 50 to 200 employees. The persona you're selling to could be Sarah, the super busy IT director. You see the difference? The ICP tells you which doors to knock on. The persona tells you what to say when that door opens.
So how do you actually figure out your ICP? Well, it really just comes down to these 3 pillars. First, you've got firmographics. These are the basic facts, right? Industry, company size, where they are. This basically tells you what your total market looks like. Next up, psychographics. This is the why. What are their biggest goals? What are their deepest pain points? This is what's going to make your marketing message really hit home. And finally, behavioral. This is the how. How do they buy new tools? What tech are they already using? This helps you map out how they'll find you and become a customer. If you get these 3 things right, you're not just guessing anymore. You actually have a plan.
All right, you've got your ICP locked and loaded. Now it's time for the real work. We're talking about getting your first 10 customers. For this stage, I want you to just pretend the word automation doesn't exist. This is all about pure, high-touch, manual effort. Think of these first 10 people as your founding members. You shouldn't just know their company name, you should know their name, their job title, maybe even their favorite coffee order.
So where do you find these first 10 VIPs? Here are 3 incredibly powerful, unscalable tactics that just work. Number 1, use your network, but with a little twist. Don't ask your friends to buy your product. Instead, ask them this magic question. Who do you know who struggles with this problem? It's a total game changer. 2, become a regular in the online communities where your ideal customers hang out. We're talking niche subreddits, Slack groups, you name it. But here's the key. Don't just jump in and start pitching. Add real value, answer questions, and build trust first. And 3, send emails that are so well-researched they don't even feel like cold emails. Reference a specific tweet they made or a problem they mentioned in a blog post. It proves you've actually done your homework.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. This constant grind of one-on-one conversations. It can feel like you're not doing the real work of building a company. But it's not a distraction. This is the work that builds the company. Every single conversation, every piece of feedback, even every no, is a brick in the foundation of everything that comes next.
Now, it's so tempting to try and scale too soon. And let me tell you, the startup graveyard is filled with companies that made these 3 mistakes. They burned through all their money on paid ads before they even knew if people wanted what they were selling. They chased all these big, scalable strategies before they even had 10 customers who actually loved their product. And please, whatever you do, do not automate your outreach at this stage. You need to be talking one-on-one to every single person you can.
Okay, so you've done the hard, unscalable work. You've got 10, maybe 20 customers who are huge fans. You've listened to them, you've made changes, you've validated your idea. Now, and only now, can we start talking about building a growth engine. The whole idea is to take everything you learned from that manual grind and build a machine that can bring in new customers even when you're sleeping.
See, the whole point of that one-on-one effort wasn't just to get those first 10 customers. It was to find the pattern. What words in your emails made people reply? Which features got people really excited? Where did your best customers come from? Once you see that pattern, that's when you can pour gasoline on the fire by switching from manual work to sustainable systems.
And there are a bunch of powerful growth engines to choose from, but don't let this list overwhelm you. You're not supposed to do all of them. The trick is to pick 1 or 2 that really fit your business. You could become the go-to source of information in your industry with content marketing and SEO. Or you could try product-led growth, where the product is so good it basically sells itself. You could form partnerships with other companies or create a referral program that turns your customers into your sales team. The key here is to focus. Master one channel before you even think about the next one.
Let's just look at a classic example to see what I mean. Content and SEO versus paid ads. Content is a slow burn. You're building a library of useful stuff, and it can take 6 to 12 months to really pay off. But when it does, it's a durable asset that brings in customers for years. Paid ads, on the other hand, are like a faucet. You turn them on, you get traffic immediately, but the second you stop paying, that traffic is gone. So it's a strategic choice. Are you trying to build a long-term asset, or are you just renting attention for a little while?
And then, of course, there's the powerhouse engine that everybody is talking about these days, product-led growth, or PLG. This is where your product itself becomes your #1 marketing tool. Just think about how you started using a tool like Slack or Figma. A coworker probably invited you, you tried it for free, and you saw how awesome it was almost instantly. That's PLG. The product experience itself is what drives people to sign up and share it.
Okay, so let's bring this all back home. We've gone from that terrifying post-launch silence all the way through the unscalable grind of finding your first fans, and now into the strategic world of building a real growth engine. And all of this leads to one major milestone.
100. It seems like a simple number, but it's so much more than that.
Because hitting 100 customers, that's not just a vanity metric. It's not a number you just throw into a pitch deck to look good. It is a foundation. It is tangible proof that you've moved past just having an idea and you've actually built something real, something that's been validated by the market, shaped by real feedback, and now has the momentum to actually grow.
And that's really the whole story, isn't it? The journey from 0 to 100 is like the story of your startup in miniature. It's that critical transformation from a messy, hands-on, unscalable grind into a repeatable, systematic growth engine. And it's all built on the lessons you learned when you were doing things that didn't scale.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Once your growth engine is up and running and you're flying past 100, past 1,000 customers, what part of that initial unscalable grind will you refuse to automate? What's that one human connection that's so vital to your business that you'll fight to keep it forever? That's all for this explainer. I really hope it was helpful for you. Thanks for joining me.